aarp.org/caregiving, you can find resources and connect with the caregiving community. Together, we can better care for ourselves and the ones we love. Visit aarp.org/caregiving to learn more. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Lion Tales, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation, on the voice of Nassau Community College 90.3 WHPC. I'm your host, Lynnda Nadien, along with Aurora Workman, and our guest today is Jonathan Mack, the author of The Struggles of the Teenage Saint, published in January 2015. So what type of music did you record with your church choir, and is it gospel hymns or secular music as well?
Yes, so it's gospel. Each album, we have 2 albums out, both have a hymn on there, but they're original songs on that. The second album's all original songs outside of the hymn. The first album, I borrowed some people's songs and also a few original songs, but all gospel and hymns.
Yeah, and it's important to do that, because I think it gives people sort of your chance to explore your songwriting and what you want to spread, and then also what you've already heard and and people are familiar with, so they'll listen a little bit. So can you tell us about the experience of recording music with the church choir, and were there any challenges along the way?
Yeah, so the interesting thing is, so it's a community choir, so we're from several churches. I think the challenges probably was just the actual recording aspect, finances, getting all of that together, and the whole production of it. I remember it like it was yesterday, the entire production. And I think we started in February, and the recording was in October. It was October 10th, 2010. And just the fullness of that production, it was very hectic. When it was over, I was just like, thank God. It was a lot to do.
Whose idea was this?
Right, Yeah, that was a lot.
And so in your book, The Struggles of the Teenage Saint, we take it that it's about a young person trying to do the right thing in a sinful world. And why did you decide to write this book?
Yeah, so that book was on my heart since 2009. It just dropped to me, The Struggles of the Teenage Saint, but I couldn't really pin the book out. And I think it was because I had to go through a little bit more of experiences, and then hear other people's stories. So how I wrote the book was each chapter is a struggle. And it goes from, I'm actually working on another one right now, but it goes from spiritual struggles to emotional struggles, sexual struggles, where all of the different areas, to just basically, it's like a strategy book. So it touches on the struggles. I give my experience with the struggles, and then I give a strategy out of the struggle, from even just with praying, because some people it's hard to pray. So when I talk about prayer, I say you don't have to think about a long-winded prayer. Listen, I call it prayer nuggets. Send up a little 2-minute prayer. Just give little prayer nuggets, and then I end each chapter with a prayer.
Yeah. How do you think people can learn to forgive and to understand that struggle of forgiveness?
I think that learning to forgive, we have to first realize that we've offended somebody too. And so often when we are offended, we forget that, maybe a few days ago, a few hours ago, you were the one offending. And if we stop labeling offense as what's big and small and just look at it, everything is just all offense, the same size, I think it'll cause us to be able to realize, listen, I've done that too, so who am I to hold something against you when I've done something against somebody else as well? And I think that when we begin to look at it from that perspective and realize that we're not perfect people, we're trying to reach that level of perfection, it takes the strength out of offense, and then it causes us to be able to put our strength into forgiveness.
Right.
Yeah. What are the challenges that you may experience in this walk? Because they say the devil comes at you.
Oh, Lord.
He's coming at
you. I had plenty of challenges. I struggled with depression at one point. That was a few years ago, actually. I realized also it was every Tuesday. Sometimes we think people just live in it, every day. Yeah. Sometimes it can be a specific moment, a specific day, and you don't even realize it because it's subtle. But after a while, I begin to get to understand, every Tuesday I'm feeling some type of way. I don't get this. And what actually caused me to not realize it too, I was busy on Tuesdays. So I felt some type of way, but I was doing things. But when all of that settled, that's when I had to come face to face. I had to really confront the fact that I am in a dark place. And that was hard for me. And I dealt with that for a little while. But I mean, prayer could break any chain.
Yeah.
You know, prayer and just being honest with God concerning where you are, and then He'll meet you where you're at, and He'll bring whatever help you need. Sometimes prayer will just break it. Sometimes God sends somebody to counsel you out of it. So many different avenues God can use to bring you out, but that was definitely one of them.
Yeah. And that feeling of, where am I and where am I supposed
Yes.
to be, and is this right?
Definitely.
And
yeah.
then can you feel it? And if you do feel it, then how do you channel it out? And did you do it the right way? And there's a lot of questioning. I mean, you wonder if most, young people are feeling that now, if they are trying to kind of question that existence, or some kids so enthralled with using the phone and the social media piece that they're forgetting.
Yeah, I wonder if they're feeling at all nowadays.
They're posting, but there's a robotic element to it.
Definitely, yeah.
And so you post on Facebook and people can see what you're posting and they can comment, but then how do you feel about how that comes back to you and what that looks like for you in your life?
And then that begins to shape their reality as well, everything that's coming at them. And I don't even think they realize that everything that's going on is shaping your thinking, shaping your reality. And then later on, they're living out something false or living out something negative, and they don't understand how they got to that place. And it's because they fed into it.
Right. You see a lot of that, living the falsehood and trying to come to terms with it. But you may get in big trouble before you realize the falsehood tricked you a little bit.
So how do you address teenagers who will come to you who are in situations, probably at home, or that are not, a lot of them, we talked about forgiveness and we'll continue with forgiveness, but how do you address teenagers who find themselves in those kind of family violence areas and stuff? But I'm going to let you answer that question right after this. You are listening to Lion Tales on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Aurora Workman, along with Lynnda Nadien, and our guest today is Jonathan Mack, the pastor that founded and established the City of Oasis Church of Deliverance in 2013. So we were talking about teenagers and those who are in family violence issues or issues with their families. How do you address them?
Yeah, that's I encounter that a lot. I deal with a lot of young people. Some of them don't even go to the church, but we have a strong relationship, and they all come with different issues. And that's a very, you got to treat them all very carefully, because I don't want anybody coming for me, but also just to make sure that the child is safe. So I always tell them, listen, first of all, there's hope. That's just the fact that we're having a conversation is hope right there, because you're not left by yourself. And I always try to give them strategy throughout every situation based on what's going on. So I've had young people who've had abusive parents. I've had some who had parents who just didn't care. But in situations like that, especially with children who they don't have parents who care, or they're just really neglected, I just step in and I be that father for them. I be that big brother, that mentor. I've had one kid, he was out here he was staying someplace else, but he would always be in Far Rockaway, but no one would feed him. And it may cost me money, but I'm going to feed you. I'm going to make sure that you at least know that I care. So I just try to show them something different.
Right. Do you find that sometimes when you show a lot of kindness to children that need, they're not really sure how to take it and they don't really 100% trust you?
Yes. So, and because they're not used to it. They haven't received, and it's crazy because I'm used to my mother caring for me. I'm used. So to see that they find that it's strange, it's foreign to them that someone would be nice. Some of them would want to know, what is your motive? It's like, my only motive is for you to know that I love you, for you to get better, for you, and it takes time for some of them to learn that, that there's someone who can actually love me and care for me without any motive, without whatever, And
that does take a lot of time.
Yeah, it does. And so you have to be patient, even as that mentor or whoever you are, to be able to deal with that. Some people want change overnight. Dealing with these young people, you have to give room for change to take place, and have a great level of tolerance and patience with them, because some of them if you're not careful, you'll become hurt by them, but they're not hurting you on purpose. They just don't know how to receive your love. Right. So now they put up this defense,
So you're continuing your education.
Yes.
Where are you going?
I'm at Brooklyn College.
Yay.
Yes.
And you're doing a secondary?
Yes.
Yeah, I was a secondary teacher.
Oh,
So,
really?
Richard, I was a secondary teacher. So what is your goal in seeking to continue in education?
So I definitely want to be a high school teacher. But I'll come to you though.
Yeah. Well, the high schools always need great people.
Yeah.
They do. They're begging, please send somebody good.
So I want to be a high school English teacher, but I actually want to go into administration. Hopefully, I actually want to open up an all boys high school, or at least maybe from grade 6 to 12. So that's the ultimate goal. So I want to get my master's in educational leadership.
Okay, that's
I
amazing.
have mine.
Yes.
Yeah, where did you go?
Yes, I went to Concordia. I did an online for my master's.
Did you have to get a first master's?
Huh? Yeah, well, I have a master's in organizational development from from CW Post. Shout out. Yeah, so that in leadership, educational leadership, and finding those different avenues is what I was looking for to do in education.
And the certification part of the leadership part, certificate of advanced study, which I have that from Hofstra, but my doctorate is from St. John's, and that's in leadership and accountability. So you have a certification, but then you move into the coursework for the doctorate, and then you write your dissertation.
So you are my people.
Yeah, we're the people.
I need you. Oh,
yeah. So knowing that you're a recording artist, being a pastor, a student. Okay, you have all these hats and responsibilities, and I've been a church administrator for a long time. So when that time comes, how do you debrief? Because it's a lot to carry.
Yeah. You find any moment to do it. Earlier this year, I just went on vacation. I said, I'm out of here. That Sunday after service, I was gone. I left for 5 days. Just to decompress, just to leave response that you have to. Self-care is so important. Even if you could just steal a moment away for yourself for self-care. On Monday, I was in the house for 2 hours prior to prayer, and I just prayed and sat there in silence. You have to. You have to. And just do anything. That's when I like to go out to eat. I will go bowling. I will go to a theme park. Whatever I can
bowling.
do.
That was my favorite class here.
Look at that.
We'd like to thank our guest, Jonathan Mack, a man of God that pastors the City of Oasis Church of Deliverance in Far Rockaway. He's a recording artist. He's a student in college, continuing with his master's program, and a proud alumni of Nassau Community College. So how can our audience contact you?
Yes, so you can reach me. You can find me on Facebook. Pastor Jonathan S.G. Mack is my ministry page, or if you just look up Jonathan Mack, you'll find that one. I'm on Instagram, Pastor Jonathan Mack. Also via email, you can email me at pastorjonathanmack@gmail.com. And that's just that email. You can, if you just want to reach out because maybe you need prayer, you want to talk about something, but any inquiry concerning like preaching engagements, that email is admin@jonathanmackministries.com.
Thank you so much for being here, Jonathan. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed being here.
We want to thank you for being with us. My name is Lynnda Nadien, along with my fabulous friend, Aurora Workman, president of the Nassau Community College Alumni Association. The creative director of Lion Tales is Rudy J. Breedy. This show is a production of the Nassau Community College Alumni Association. Visit nassaucommunitycollege.edu/WHPC for more information. Available as a podcast on iTunes, Android Podcasts, and Spreaker. Lion Tales is powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. We'll talk to you next week.